Morning, everybody. How you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. It's Tuesday. It's a lovely morning if you like cold mornings. It's cold. It is cold, but it is nice. I hope you're all happy and healthy doing the things you love, with those that you love doing them with. This is your Tottenham Tuesday transfer news, views and clues update. Before we get into it, because we have got a cracker of a story today from Dan Kilpatrick for the Evening Standard. It literally broke first thing this morning, so let's hope it's true. But before we get into it, a couple of requests. Please hit the like button if you enjoy the content. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And when I say if you haven't already, I also include those that have already and then have been unsubscribed and then have checked, resubscribed, and then have gone back and checked again and been unsubscribed again. I need everybody to double check that you're subscribed, because YouTube are doing something, well, it's silly beggars really. I keep getting comments telling me to ask everybody to double check, and I'm doing that. So I don't know what's going on, but in any event, over the weekend we made it to 20k. Finally, the last 1,000 took quite a while, and I'm over the moon. Bugsy's over the moon. She got a bone, a 20k bone. And yeah, just wanted to say thank you to everyone's support over the last, I guess it's about 21 months we've been doing this now. 22 months. Really enjoyed every moment of it. Lots of ups and downs in the path of Tottenham. We're going to keep going to see where we can take this bad boy, but I wanted to say massive thank you. Obviously wouldn't do it without you guys. So to everyone that I've met along the way, everyone in the community, everyone in the comments, everyone at Tottenham, really appreciate knowing you all. And it's a nice, volatile roller coaster of a journey being a Tottenham fan. But yeah, doing these content videos every day with you guys is a massive part of my life now, so I really appreciate it. Let's keep going. Anyway, hit the notification bell as well and drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts on today's topic. And today's topic, guys, is all about Todibo from Nice. Jean-Clair, I think it is Jean-Clair Todibo. A wonderful player. Dan Kilpatrick comes out about an hour ago and drops his exclusive that we're after him. Manchester United are after him, although Manchester United apparently are also after Antonio Silva from Benfica, who's a real player that I would love Tottenham to get. But I think he's £100 million level, €100 million level. Todibo, apparently, according to Kilpatrick, is available for €39 million. And look, I'll throw the stats up so you can see them. I would encourage you to go and, if you aren't familiar with him, or if you haven't seen enough of him to know too much about him, just go and look at his everything reels on YouTube. He's just a brilliant ball-playing centre-back. He's tall, he's 1.90 m, so what's that, about 6'2.5", 6'3". He is fast, very fast. He's so comfortable on the ball. He's got footwork that's similar to, you could almost describe him as a creative midfielder, the way he can out-trick his opponents deep in his own half with the ball. He's super strong, so he can shoulder people out the way like Decky does. But he gets in, he times his tackles really well. He's up there, as you see by the stats. Defensively, he's up there in the top 95th, 96th percentile for tackles, for interceptions, for clearances, for challenges in the final third, the middle third and the defensive third. He's great in the air. He does everything that you want defensively and would fit what we need in a high-line ball-playing centre-back. Ball-playing wise, I think he's in the top 98th percentile for dribbles, for progressive carries, for progressive runs, for distances with the ball at his feet. He is a delight to watch. I would love him to come to Tottenham. But I think Dan Kilpatrick makes the point in the article. Obviously, there'll be loads of people that will be after him in January, or if in the summer, if they can't get him in January. And even though he's available for 39 million, according to reports, I'd imagine there might be a bidding war, because he's just the real deal. He come from Barcelona before he joined Nice a couple of years ago. He's just broken into the French team. I think he's 22, and he's going to want to come to a place where he's going to get minutes. The problem for me, it's just the only shame for me in the story is that he's right-footed and a right-sided centre-back. And you know, in the immediate short term, you're going to have Romero back before you're going to have Van der Ven back. With the Euros coming up, is he going to be in a hurry to leave Nice? The centre-back roles in the French team are pretty competitive. And is he really going to come in and... Is he the priority? Is that position the priority above a left-footed, left-sided centre-back? Which I think is the bigger number one priority. And of course, in that situation, you either go for it anyway and try and get ahead of the competition, convince him to come and be a part of something special, because next year there will be, you know, more games, hopefully, if we can get into Europe, and we're trying to build a squad here that's capable of achieving things, and this guy is a really, really strong level. But with Tottenham's, you know, relatively restricted budget, at least according to reports, how do we make it make sense? I still believe that a left-footed, left-sided centre-back is the way to go. And as much as I've softened my approach on Lloyd Kelly, and I do think that he is a player, as I've said a few times now, who we haven't seen the best of yet, because he plays in a system where the ball is usually in front of him and he's usually compressed back on a low line, low block. I think you'll see the best of him in a higher line. I actually think that there's somebody else out there who, for me, is more exciting and possibly won't even cost as much, or will cost similar amounts as Lloyd Kelly. And that is Strinja Pavlovic from RB Salzburg. A left-footed, left-sided centre-back who, again, if you haven't seen him, go and check him out on YouTube. Just incredible, incredible strength, incredible talent. I slipped him into my list of players that I'm like top centre-back targets for January video that I'm going to drop this week. I put him in at the end as like a name that we should be looking at. And then over the weekend, the links started to emerge about him for the first time, or first time I'd seen them. So I'd be really interested in that one. The problem for me is, though, is that I think that the Lloyd Kelly story, not only does it make sense because he's out of contract, and therefore we'll probably be able to get him cheaper than, like, for value for money purposes, than you'd otherwise pay, and the fact that I think he does fit the system, but on top of that, he's not going to have necessarily the same demands for first team football like a Todibo would do in the initial instance. And on top of that, sorry, let me get the screen out of the sunlight. Let's not forget he is English, and if you can sign a couple of homegrown players in our January, searches, or even in the summer, then it certainly makes for easier conversations and easier decisions around what to do with some of our other English homegrown players that we don't necessarily see a future for. Like, well, for me, Ryan Sessegnon, I don't think he's good enough, fit enough, regularly enough. I think he's a bit of a scaredy cat. He's too timid. You know, I'd like to see him play in this system, because I think it might be one of those horses for courses. But whenever I've seen him get forward, even the wing-back system under Conte, he was always too shy and scared to take shots when he got up into the top end. So I don't necessarily think it will work out the way it's sort of trying to do with Udogie. So I think you could make an easy argument to get rid of him. The same goes for maybe Ollie Skip as well in the future. I'm just not entirely convinced that guy's got the right level for what we're trying to achieve here. So, and maybe in not the immediate future, but Ben Davies, even though I always think Ben Davies puts in a solid shift for us when he plays, he obviously has got a lower ceiling than probably what we're looking for in the long run, but I don't think he ever lets himself down too much. And he obviously also counts as homegrown now in the Premier League, at least. So yeah, if you go and sign a Lloyd Kelly, at least you can make an easier decision around one of those other three and go forward from there. But anyway, Todibo for me is like I say, one of those players that you kind of look at and go, if we can make it work, we should make it work, because I think that he is, a £70 million centre back in a couple of years' time. Nice aren't going to be in any hurry to let him go. They're in a title race, so to speak, with PSG at the top of the French league. And as I say, he might not want to leave if he's not guaranteed football, because he doesn't want to disrupt his chances to get into the Euros. So it's going to be interesting. But Tottenham are not going to be short of competition for that player, or any player really. There's always a demand for left-footed, left-sided centre-backs, and any good up-and-coming right-sided centre-back, there's always a big team that needs one. Manchester United and Liverpool are looking for, and so Tottenham will have to make a move quick. Let me know your thoughts though, guys. Would you... let me talk about this in terms of a budget. Let's say we push the boat out completely here and argue that we can scrape together 80, 90 million quid. If Tottenham were to get that 50 million pound that was never dropped out of the last 50 of the 150 million, plus whatever's left from the Harry Kane money, let's say you can get 80, 90 million pound in January. I know it's going to be difficult to do all that business. Let's say you can get Lloyd Kelly for 20. Let's say you could get Santiago Jimenez for 50 with some add-ons. Let's say you could get Jota for free. Jota's not my ideal winger. There's other wingers I'd rather go for, but I just think that Tottenham can go about their January business. If you can go and get two centre-backs, a winger that can drive at players, a striker that can finish his dinner, before worrying about how to replace people like Højbjerg if they want to go, or Lo Celso if they want to go, if they want to get out of the club as well and move on and, you know, and change their career, then you hopefully use the money you get from that to replace that. But in terms of just bringing people in, if you could liquidate Hugo Lloris and Eric Dyer, but bring in Lloyd Kelly and a Todibo, I mean, amazing, and a Jota and a Santiago Jimenez. If you paid, let's say, 40 million for Todibo, 20 for Lloyd Kelly, nothing for Jota, and 50 for Santiago Jimenez, what's that, 110 million? I mean, if Daniel Levy could do that, if Daniel Levy could find the way to put his hand in his pocket just once, drop the 50, figure out some clever accounting practices for the other 60 that we need, and then you're kind of good. Am I talking dream mode scenario? When was the last time any club made 4 signings in January? Doesn't happen often. Tottenham usually do business in January, but it's usually late business, and it's usually one player here, occasional 2 players. 4 players seems like a lot to ask for. But I just feel like we don't have someone who can finish at the top end of the pitch. I don't think we've got a winger that can take players on, because I do think that Perisic might be leaving us in January anyway and going, even though he's still injured, I think he might be going back to Hajduk Split. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Is it 4 too much to ask for? And also with the centre-backs, if we bring in a Lloyd Kelly and a Todibo or someone like that, or a Pavlovic, or any one of the other number of plethora of centre-backs we've been linked with, videos coming out for that soon, then I just wonder whether or not does that completely bottleneck the process, the pathway to the first team for a Dorrington and an Ash Phillips. And if that is the case, then does the right hand not know what the left hand is doing? And as much as we've spent so much time trying to build this youth team up, spent so much money trying to give the youth team opportunities to be a better version of themselves, but then at the same time you're blocking off the pathway to the first team. It's a catch-22, isn't it? What do you prioritise, the here and now or the future? I mean, one thing's for sure, we absolutely need at least one centre-back in. We absolutely need at least one. And I would say it's the left-sided, left-footed one at the top of the list. But, I don't know, if there's a chance to get a player like Todibo, guys, you go and get him. For me, I'd be surprised if we did, though. Anyway, let me know your thoughts, guys. How would you spend it if you had 100 million to spend? How would you spend it? How many players would you like? How many players is realistic? And let me know your thoughts about blocking the pathway to the first team. Like, subscribe and comment, guys. And as always, bye-bye.